Hello everyone, this is my last review for tonight. I'm Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Home Again, which is a rom-com, dramedy, whatever you want to call it, starring Reese Witherspoon about a woman who's dealing with being separated from her husband, raising her kids, having three young men in her household, and her falling for one of them, and stuff ensues. And this is directed by Haley Myers-Shire, who also does the writing for the film. It's a bit sloppy and unbalanced in terms of keeping the characters together and where you're supposed to be following along with the characters in this film. But it does brisk along, and it has a nice pace to it, and you never feel bored watching this film. And it doesn't balance its tone well because it's kind of goofy, and then it tries to hit on really emotional moments, and I don't know how well it really hits on them. And it's cheesy. It really is a cheesy movie, and it's a harmless, really cheesy movie. The cinematography by Dean Cundey, it's very cheap and shiny, and there's just some bad shots of they're trying to make sexy scenes with kissing and stuff like that, and so zoomed in and so badly shot you can't even tell what's going on. I'm like, okay, that's really bad. In terms of the writing, it's a very cliched film, but this undertone of dealing with the film industry and passion of film, I thought that wasn't even in the trailers, and I thought that was a nice little flip for this film to add a little spice to the story, and I really appreciated that. It's very hit or miss with the characters. Some of them are endearing, some of them are just well, I don't even care about you, why are you even here? And it has really cheesy dialogue, and it's laughable at some points, and it's not a super deep film. It kind of hits on the surface of love and family and stuff like that. I don't think it really hits on those themes that it's really trying to hit for. John Debney's score is very cheesy and manipulative in this film, and it's just yeah, it's the music I would expect out of this film. Now, Reese Witherspoon, I think, does a fine job in this film. It's not something super deep or Oscar worthy, but it's she does a good job. Michael Sheen brings a lot of personality to his smaller role in this film. I did enjoy him, and he brought a lot of personality. And John Rudnitsky, who was one of the three young men, was so endearing, stood out so much, and I can't wait to see him in more movies. I really enjoyed him. The other two were kind of I don't care about them as much, and I didn't think the performances were very nuanced. I thought John Rudnitsky did a really good job, though. So with my it factor and my final thoughts, there's a few glimpses of things I really enjoyed, but overall it's a harmless, cliched film. If you enjoy rom-coms, you're probably going to enjoy this. So I'm going to give Home Again a C-. Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Marjorie Prime, and this is about in the future. It's based off of a play where dead loved ones are brought back as holograms to keep in touch with their families, and they have to teach them their own lives, and keeping them around to appease the grieving process for their dead and for their surviving loved ones. And it deals with a lot of interesting things, and this is directed by Michael Alnereda. It's a bit muddled with how the story's put together, and it gets confusing at parts, but overall it's a very engaging, interesting story, and interesting high concept. It's a bit slow, it does drag at moments. It's a very talky film, and it is based off of a play, and it's a lot of sitting around and just talking, and it does drag at parts. But it's consistent and eerie, and in terms of tone, and it's you're trying to figure out how you should feel about what's going on with these people and everything, and it is interesting to keep going along, and you're engaged because you want to figure out what's the point, and is this the right thing to do, or what's going to come out of this situation. And it does hit emotionally. There are some moments where it's dealing with loss and sorrow, and there's some moments that really hit impactfully, and realizations that it's wow, that really does hit home in terms of dealing with dead loved ones and trying to get past that grieving process. Sean Price Williams' cinematography is very generic and sheeny and really just point and shoot, so that kind of took me out of the movie. As somebody that really appreciates camera work and cinematography, it's very blah. The writer is Michael Almereda as well. It's a very intriguing and engrossing story about these family members slowly dealing with the deaths of their family members and how they interact with these new holograms and teaching them. What do you teach them? Do you teach them all the good things? Do you let them know their whole stories so that you could see them struggle with their emotions about certain things in their life? And that's really interesting. There are some deep characters that get a lot of development in this film that are really interesting to watch. And it does have deep and thought-provoking dialogue, and these conversations go to places that it's really engaging and interesting, and you want to figure out how this all fits together and how these characters are really dealing with everything. And dealing with grief and connections with family, these themes are really, really at the core of this film and are really fleshed out within dialogue and how they interact with each other. The music by Micah Levy is very eerie and powerful, and there's some moments in this film that are striking because how, boom, this music comes in and really elevates scenes and makes you really feel how impactful they can be. The acting, so we have Les Smith, John Hamm, and Gina Davis all do a very good job in this film in their roles, but Tim Robbins, I think, is the one that really sticks out and has some very powerful moments. I'm not the hugest fan of Tim Robbins, but there are films that I see him in, and he has some amazing performances, like Shawshank Redemption. Really enjoyed him in this film. I'm a huge fan of John Hamm, and I enjoyed him in this film. It was nice seeing Gina Davis in a film. Now, my it factor. This is a really impactful, thoughtful sci-fi film. It's not for everyone. It's a bit slow and a bit convoluted, but if you're into that that heady kind of science fiction, I think this is really worth it for you. And I'm going to give Marjorie Prime a B-.